name is Sanford Reason, and this is my informative speech. The iPhone, The Departed, Fergie, and the final Harry Potter book. These are some of the things we think of when we think back to 2007. To many, though, words such as financial ruin, loss, and depression come to mind when we think back. This was a year for hardships for many, a great economic decline of our country. It was December 2007 when it was declared that the U.S. economy was in a recession, a slowdown period now known as the Great Recession. It is believed that the combination of failed policies and irresponsible actions led to this. Everyone was affected by the Great Recession, even if they didn't realize it, from sharp price increases at the grocery store all the way to the gas pumps. Today, we are still affected by this issue and the negatives that will still follow each and every graduating college student that enters the workforce. I will talk from here what caused it, how the U.S. economy and the people of the United States were affected, and how the recovery since the end of 2009 has been. To understand why we are affected by the Great Recession, we need to understand what caused the Great Recession. The Great Recession was officially started in December of 2007. It was marked by a sharp decline in market performance, also known as market failure. A combination of factors led to this sudden market failure. First being poor bank performance. An increase in borrowing from banks through loans due to ever-climbing equity on homes. This led to increases in household debt, rapid growth of consumer spending, and a continuing vicious cycle. Next was government failure is suspected as a possible cause. The Federal Reserve maintained artificially low interest rates for years, allowing irresponsible mortgages with little down payments. This allowed households with poor credit and erratic incomes to take out mortgages. Finally, the housing bubble burst. This was a combination of increasing interest rates that stalled refinancing, forcing homeowners to sell, lending to home prices falling, and lenders cutting off credit lending to homeowners defaulting on mortgages. All these factors together contributed to the Great Recession and led to negative effects on the U.S. economy. The Great Recession ushered in hard times not seen since the 1930s. One of the most widely recognized indicators of the recession was higher unemployment rates. At the end of the recession in 2009, the national employment rate was at 9.5%, shortly after hitting its peak of 10%. And unemployment also fell more rapidly than any prior recessions, job openings decreasing by 44%. Employment of young adults was at 82% employed for young men, and employment hitting 73% for young women. The stock market also experienced extreme losses. According to Kimberly Amadio from About News, she says that stock market fell 50% over the period of the recession. The only other time that this happened was during the Great Depression, when it fell at 80%. The housing market also experienced extreme losses, with equity loss equaling out to personal wealth loss. As stated by John Vogel in the U.S. News and World Report, that drop in housing construction led to job loss, and Thomas F. Cooley and Peter Rupert from Forbes say that record high foreclosure rates are twice as high compared to any other recession in recent history. Businesses also experienced losses. Large businesses saw a reduction in purchase of goods that led to low profits and downsizing, while small businesses were not able to take out small business loans due to strict borrowing regulations now set in by lenders. Families and households suffered the most during the recession. According to Konstantin von Hoffman of CBS Money Watch, household wealth plunged $16 trillion from the top of the real estate bubble in the third quarter of 2007 to the bottom of the bust in the first quarter of 2009. Now that we're officially out of the recession, we're trying to recover what was lost. June 2009 marked the end of the recession and the start to a long road to recovery. June 2014 marked the 5-year anniversary of the Great Recession from when it ended. Andrew Fieldhouse of the Huffington Post says that, quote, champagne toast would be disastrously premature as the U.S. economy remains far from fully recovered. Partial recovery has taken place, but favoring only corporations and stocks rather than employment and wage growth. $11 million jobs were needed to return to pre-recession levels. Currently, right now, sits at 7 million, and 198,000 jobs are added per month. At this current pace, it will still take another 5 years to reach where the pre-recession levels were. Employment rate is still not to where pre-recession levels were at. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the rate is at 5.9%, and when the recession hit, it was at 4.6%. Prime age workers, ranging from 25 to 54, employed was at 76.4% in May, and compared to 79.9% the year before the recession hit. GDP, or gross domestic product, is used to measure economic activity. Finishing off the first quarter of 2014 was 5.1% below that of potential GDP. In the previous year, 2013, the year ended off averaging at 4.5%, indicating that GDP is actually getting worse. Stocks, one of the main parts of the recession, after the recession that recovered, hit their all-time high on September 19th, 2014. And the housing market is making a recovery back from recession numbers. According to Chris Matthews of Fortune, housing prices rose 10.8% year over year in April, according to the Case-Shiller 20-City Home Price Index. Now, so we see now in the conclusion that the road to recovery is still long. The Great Recession still affects our daily lives in many ways when it comes to financial means. Jobs, housing, investments, some of the things that are needed to live modern, happy lives have become hard necessities to acquire, and as the economy is slowly returning to normal, I hope that you are now informed about the Great Recession, and will be able to plan accordingly for the future. Because if I know one thing, it's expect the unexpected. Thank you.